What the Pel is up, everybody? This is Pelicans Plus with Elliot Clough at Elliot Clough on Twitter, as you can see directly to my left here. That is my Twitter handle. Lots of stuff blowing up today because of the current state of the Pelicans, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But first, this episode is brought to you by Hornitos. Hornitos is the official tequila of Pelicans Plus and Boot Crew Media. Make sure you subscribe or follow depending on where you are listening to this podcast. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, drop a like, drop a comment. And if you're on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. That way you're going to be able to get those podcasts there in video form. Also, if you're on Apple Podcasts, which I know 50% of you who listen to this show in podcast form listen to us there, make sure that you subscribe and leave that rate and review. We really appreciate it. Also, tell a friend about the podcast. So I start off the podcast, as I always do, saying what the Pel is up. And I say now what I'm not even going to say, because what the Pel is for fun stuff, right? This is what the freaking hell is going on, man. For those of you who are diehard Pelicans fans, you probably know what's going on. I mean, people who listen to this podcast generally fall into that category, but I'm going to update you anyway. Zion probably out another 2 to 3 weeks. He's not even probably going to be able to do 5-on-5 practice until the next evaluation of his injury. And so Brandon Ingram's hurt. The team's 1-6. I mean, where do you go from here? Where's the optimism? I mean, I'm generally one of the most optimistic guys in the Pels media and Pels Twitter, and I don't have much to go off of right now. And I'm sure a lot of you who listen to this podcast are surprised by that, and I'm surprised by it too. Much like AD, Antonio Daniels, am optimistic, maybe even to a fault. And that's speaking of me, not so much of Antonio Daniels, because we all love him and he's great and he's been on my podcast before, and I highly recommend listening to literally anything he has to say. But anyway, the question remains: where do the Pelicans go from here? I mean, use the trade exception for what? In terms of getting better this year. I mean, this season has to be completely out the window. And I'm just like, who do you go out and get that makes you better right now, especially if Brandon Ingram's also hurt and Zion's not going to be available to practice for another 2 to 3 weeks. Like, does Buddy Hield really change anything for the Pelicans? Goran Dragic, Colin Sexton, Jeremy Grant? If Zion can't practice for another month, that probably means the Pelicans will be out without him until Christmas. And, you know, in was it 2019, 2020, team started off 6-22, right? And ultimately they got some stuff figured out. They ended up winning a pretty good amount of basketball games before Zion got back. And then they had to figure it out again, because when you add a player like that, you got to figure stuff out. But Zion was in better shape, even though he was hurt for that amount of time. The team was coached by, well, no, I don't even want to go there. It took them a while to figure it out, right? They were 6-22, lost like 13 games in a row. And that's certainly a possibility to start this season. They also had Brandon Ingram at that point in time. And as of right now, it doesn't look like BI is going to be healthy all that long. And I mean, if he's not healthy, if Zion's not back till Christmas, he's still overweight. 300 pounds, man. Like, we saw him on the court. People are excited. I even tweeted the eye emoji to appeal to the masses. But my original tweet before I deleted it was me saying he still looks big, because he is. He's not in shape. He's not playing because he's overweight. Like, I mean, you can just, does this guy really love basketball, man? I hate to be the one who asks. I hate to be the one who brings it up, because he's so damn fun to watch. 27 points a game on 60% shooting. How do you even fathom being upset with a guy like that? But because he's been hurt, 2 out of the 3 seasons to start, and, injuries happen, right? But if you're hurt and you're overweight, you can't control. I mean, you're a professional athlete, man. You get paid millions of dollars to do one thing, and that's play basketball. And in order to play basketball, you have to be healthy, and you have to be at a good, healthy weight to be able to compete. I mean, people were excited about him doing shuffling yesterday or whatever it was, however many days ago, 3, 4 days ago. I don't know how you get excited about that. The dude's like, again, 300 pounds. He should be playing for the Saints. This is amazing. And it's being enabled because nobody's saying shit. And nobody's asking Zion questions, and he's not made available to the media right now because he's hurt. And when you're hurt, you don't have to do stuff like that. And I am just frustrated beyond all hell. And if you told me 2 years ago that the person I'd be most frustrated with this season is Zion Williamson, I'd be pretty damn surprised, because when you're that good, you shouldn't be the one who people are upset about and upset with. And again, injuries happen, man. Injuries happen. They happen to the best. Tom Brady tore his ACL whatever year that was for the Patriots. And what did he do? He came back like almost better. You could cut his career in half and it'd still be 2 Hall of Famers. And Zion doesn't have to be like that, but at least try to keep your weight to a minimum. I mean, we had a doctor on this podcast, the former orthopedic surgeon for the Orlando Magic when they had Shaq and Penny and those guys that he was around for the early 2000s too. And he said, you can lose weight while you have this injury. Be on a bike, make sure to stay healthy. I mean, obviously you don't want to re-injure anything, but be on a bike, run on a treadmill and water, right? And I'm sure he can lift some weights, like upper body at the very least. And he's doing a little bit of on-court work. But my God, man, do you want to be good or not? Do you want to be good or not? Do you want to play or not? I mean, we're told. I mean, last year he said he was so excited about not having to do bursts and stuff like that. Well, goddamn. Maybe take care of yourself, and for the organization, maybe somebody hold him accountable. Don't be afraid of him leaving. If you treat it like you're afraid of him leaving, to me, it's more likely that he's gonna leave, because when you he just needs to take some damn responsibility for himself, and the team needs to say he's not doing what he needs to do, and that's not our problem. You can't appease his family every time. There's a difference between being Stan Van Gundy and being an ass and holding players accountable and actually asking them to do what they signed the fuck up for. And the Pelicans are not doing that with Zion Williamson. And I'm clearly upset. And I went to lift before this, and I thought it would take some of the energy out of me, but it hasn't. I'm still pissed. Just like all of Pell's Twitter, it feels like. And I mean, this team, what this team did this offseason, they went out and got Devontae. They went out and got Jonas Valanciunas. They went out and got Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. And Nikhil put in work, and he hasn't been great. Fine. But what this team did is they went out and they got pieces to surround Zion Williamson, and he's not even available because he's fat. Are you kidding me? You got to be careful, right? You got to be careful with injuries like this, especially with a dude this size. But my God, it's just unbelievable. When you take that core piece out that you surround the roster with, the team's just going to be bad. I mean, and we talked about this before. I think I talked about it on Pro Pels Talk, but I said that you take any best player from any team and take them out. You take LeBron James out of the Lakers. They're not the same. You take, I don't know, Jason Tatum out of the Celtics. They're not the same. So fine. The Pels could be bad without Zion. But the fact that it was constructed solely around him and he's not even really clearly coming back. Look at this. Mason Coppins. Hell yeah. Right here. He nailed it on the head. Zion's family makes decisions for $1 billion organization. There is something wrong with that. You are goddamn right. My God. I mean, what are you supposed to do with that? And if you have a real injury concern with Brandon Ingram coming back and Zion not being back healthy fit until December, how does this team turn around? I genuinely have no freaking idea, because Devontae and JV, like I just mentioned, I loved those additions this last offseason. I thought, I mean, they were reverting back to, they moved on from the Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe move, right? That's what they did. And they got pieces that fit better. And these guys are good. Devontae Graham is a hooper. That's been established. JV can fill it up, man. That is true. It's the way it is. But they're not good enough to carry the team, man. That's why Zion's around. That's why BI's around. And BI can't play because he got hurt. And even if BI's been around, and the team's still 1-6. And the freaking shittiest part of it all is that these guys try so damn hard. They're working hard. This is not last year's team. It's not. And Willie Green is a good coach. And they brought in Mike D'Antoni. And they brought in Jerron Collins. And Fred Vinson's still around. He's working with Herb Jones. He's working with Najee Marshall. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is staying after games to put up shots. This team wants to win. These players like each other. They like Willie Green. But they can't do it because their best fucking player, I'm going to stay fat. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? I'm just beside myself, man. And the thing that puts me over the edge right now is that we were told the beginning of the season, right? That's what we were told by Zion and David Griffin. And what David Griffin did when it was asked about him coming back at the beginning of the regular season, he's like, "What? I didn't say that." Then why did Zion say it? And they have you on record saying that he'll be back for the regular season. What did you think we were supposed to think? What was going through your mind? And no, that is 100%. That's just 100% what he meant, man. I mean, he takes this franchise and the fan base. He thinks that they are dumb. He thinks that they're dumb. That's what he does. David Griffin, I mean, the amount of times that this fan base has been lied to by David Griffin is unreal. This isn't a one-time thing. It's lie after lie after lie after lie. He clarified that he didn't mean the season opener. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. It's a tapestry of work. Screw off. You didn't say Zion would be back for the regular season. Excuse me. Screw off. Giving the fan base false hope doesn't do anything for you or for the players or for the organization as a whole. That's not what that does. David Griffin, I mean, he's just a con artist, man. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else, and it makes the fan base, especially on Twitter, look like a bunch of jackasses. He's the jackass. I mean, everybody was so excited about this season, myself included. I was talking so much mess on Twitter, like not even saying anything negative about other franchises, just saying that this team was going to be possibly playoff bound, play-in for sure. Zion back and healthy, 27 points a game, 60% shooting. Who's going to stop him with these guys around him? I mean, it's just asinine, man. And like I'll say it again, injuries happen. BI's hurt, right? Right? I mean, Devontae's questionable going in tomorrow. I think I heard today. I'm pretty sure Justin told me that from Propel's talk. I just don't get it. And right here, John Bodenheimer, you hit it on the head, man. You guys who are tuning into the show right now live on YouTube, who if you're on Twitter, you can head over to YouTube and watch it and comment. I'll be able to see your comments. But Griff really could be honest and give himself another year, but he gets in front of the media and lies. I don't get it. Griff could have come up in front of the media and said, yeah, this injury happened, and by the way things are looking right now, he's probably not going to be back. And we would be all upset about that, and our expectations would be, I mean, we'd be upset, but it'd be like, ah, man, that sucks. But he told us the truth, man. He told us the truth, and we can go forward. We'll look at the season a little bit differently, have different expectations. But nah, no, we're told that Zion's ready to go and he's going to be back for the regular season. That was just such BS. Such BS. It's the lies, man. It's not the fact that these guys get hurt. It's the lies. And it's constant. I'm going to say it again. You know what? He just willfully gets in front of the media and talks out of his ass. Thank you, John. Once again, you hit it on the head, man. And of Zion, his priorities are messed up. Absolutely, Brandon, you nailed it. I am incredibly frustrated. And again, this is coming from those of you who listen to this show, listen to this podcast, listen to it on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. You know that I am one of the more optimistic people, probably, on Twitter as a whole. Twitter's a dark place, man. It is. I am optimistic, probably to a fault sometimes. I mean, I went on Twitter after the Pels first win and said, this team could be good. We told you. And now I look pretty fucking dumb, huh? And I saw the news today, and it just was deflating. It's just deflating. It just sucks. There's no other way around it. I'm not upset that Zion's hurt. I'm upset that he's overweight, and by the looks of it, it's not even like he's trying to lose weight. It's not even like he's trying to get back and be healthy. It's just a facade. And his parents determine the narrative. His camp determines the narrative. I just don't get it. I just don't. And in terms of the season, I want to find positives. I want to look forward. I'm a very future oriented person. That's a big reason why I've been so optimistic. And in terms of the season, you don't want to rush BI back. You don't want to rush Zion back, especially if the fact that his being overweight would over amplify the likelihood that he gets hurt. If you don't want that. I'm upset that he's overweight, but you got to roll with the circumstances, I guess, and not rush things. But at the same time, Bi is entering towards his prime, and JV's in his prime, and Devontae's getting that way, and I mean Zion's freaking unreal, and he hasn't really probably technically reached his prime. To answer a question here by VB Saints Pels lady, thanks for tuning in. You always tune in, and I appreciate it. Last I heard, he was over 300 pounds at one point, and if you saw the video, you can tell he's overweight. There was a video of him on court recently. It's bad. And I'm gonna say it's the reason that he's not back yet, and it's extended the amount of time that he'll be out. But in terms of where the Pels are at, where Zion is at, with JV, with Devontae, JV is going balls to the walls every damn night, and it's not resulting in wins. And that is not Jonas Valanciunas' fault. It's not. JV is doing anything and everything. What is it? 23 points, 22 points, 23 rebounds in the one win. JV is doing it all, and Devontae is filling it up. And these guys are so fun to watch. They're what this team needed last year. And guys like Trey and Herb and the way Nikhil's playing right now, and the way they are fighting, and they want it every night, and they go out and go for it every night. I don't know where this team goes, man. I love the way they fight. I love the character of this team and these players. The offense isn't what it needs to be for them to win basketball games. They don't have the talent to win basketball games. They just don't. And with that said, I think I like I said, I think I heard or saw that the Devontae is questionable for tomorrow. Like, do you run JV and Devontae and not so much Devontae because he's smaller, but with JV, do you run him into the ground just to maybe win a couple more games this year? I mean, they don't want to be shut down, but at the same time, well, like, how much are you gonna be willing to play these guys to win 2, 3 more games? I mean, do you wanna tank? I I don't wanna tank, but I also don't want to ruin what the Pels have right now via whether it's injuries or running guys like JV into the ground. What I would love to see is well, I'd love to see the Pelicans win, and I'd love for Zion to be healthy and BI to be healthy, but that's not the way it's looking this year. This team just lacks the talent without those two guys to win a lot of basketball games. That's just the way it is, especially in the West. Especially in the West. And the thing that will we I know some people are calling for. I'm not necessarily calling for it, but it's a possibility. Is bringing back, or not bringing back, but having Yon or sorry, if I could talk right now, guys, my apologies. See Kyra and Trey Murphy and Herb and Jackson and Didi, I guess, and Nikhil get a bunch of time on the floor and see what happens. I just I mean, right here, John again coming at it. I will say we got a core, but I think we need to shut it down for the year. Get it a top 5 pick. Minute restriction to 30s besides Nah. Give Nah, Jones, TM3, and Kyra a lot of minutes. Jackson in there too, as long as he's healthy. It's just really. It's just another year down the toilet, man. It's another year down the toilet. Last year it was down the toilet because Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe and Stan Van Gundy. This year because of injuries and the fact that Zion doesn't like to stay under 300 pounds. Jesus. I don't know what else the solution is other than playing the young guys and going for going for losses, tanking. I don't because going out and getting Buddy Hield or Colin Sexton isn't going to change the outlook of the season. It's just not. And that sucks. And we are 7 games in and it's just all down the tubes. Like, come on. This is the most Pelicans thing ever. I don't I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what the other route is. I mean, I don't so okay, playing a little bit of the devil's advocate here is VB Saints Pels lady. Ask the guys in the first year coach to play poorly on purpose. Nope, don't go down that road. It's not that. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking to play the young guys. Not and you know Herb and Trey and Nah are not going to play poorly on purpose. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is giving the young guys run and just letting them go and get those developmental minutes. I don't want them to lose on purpose. That's not what I want. And you know where the Pels are at right now is well, and it has a lot to do with Zion being hurt, but there's a reason the Smoothie King Center is selling $9 lower bowl tickets, man. I just like who wants to go out and watch this dumpster fire that's going on in New Orleans? There's just this like I just I can't even talk and I get paid to talk right now. That's how I feel right now. I to reiterate, it's just been lie after lie after lie after lie. And that stuff adds up, man. Lying gets you nowhere. And you can keep things in house when you're good. Like, you don't keep things in house when you're bad because obviously that's going to leak and it's obviously going to make the team so much worse. Sure. And people are like, oh, the Warriors have had issues internally. Well, they've also won 3 championships and they have the greatest shooter of all time. And Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, and they had arguably the greatest scorer of all time with Kevin Durant at one point in time. have the issues, fine, but win some freaking basketball games while you're at it. Good God. And it's just all it's every bit of it is just let slide. It just is. And and that's not going to fly. And again, the toughest part of it all is Willie Green has done so much to make these guys like each other and have fun and instituted a really awesome culture. And I am such a Willie Green guy, man. And from what I'm hearing, like I mean, it's just a better place to work now, that Stan Van Gundy isn't at the helm. And that's so good to hear, but 1-6, man. 1-6, and your best player's probably not going to be back until December. I I just don't know how you walk away with a positive here, man. I really don't. I I love the additions of JV and Graham and what the Pels did this offseason in terms of the draft. I loved their offseason. Y'all know who listen to the show, who watch the show on YouTube and Facebook. You know how optimistic I am and how optimistic I was and how excited I was for the start of the season. But trust takes a long time to earn from a guy like, well, takes a long time to earn in general and takes a moment to be taken away, a heartbeat. And Griff has done extremely little to fully really earn anybody in the fan base's trust. And I haven't called for his job. I haven't said he should be fired or anything like that. I mean, I don't think I have. Somebody correct me if I have, but I'm pretty much at that point. Yeah, I think Griff needs to be done. And and we see here from someone, that's the person's YouTube handle, or YouTube username. I feel like Griff steps aside and retires to let Trajan take over, excuse me, tank over. Nah. And I I hope so. And if the Pelicans tank, I mean, the difference between tanking and not, what you're looking at this coming season is losing games on purpose versus, well, purpose. Lose, yeah, by way of the rotations versus losing games while you're trying to win games. And possibly having more injuries in the process and lowering your lottery odds. I mean, I would feel much more inclined to go for some wins this season, to go for to continue to work hard and try to build this season into something if BI was healthy, but he's not. And so that's what I fall back on is to a degree, like unintentionally tanking, but intentionally tanking, not telling the players you want to lose, but playing the younger guys so you don't win, you know. And you hopefully go out and get a top 5 pick and you come back and like I'm just very much questioning what the Pelicans will do now with Zion and his contract, especially if Zion doesn't come back and play this year. Because if he doesn't come back and play this year and he continues to have these types of injuries, is he worth a max contract? Like in talent, absolutely. 100 freaking percent. But the best ability is availability, as the old adage goes. You know, I hate to say that. One of my friends who thinks he knows basketball was telling me that John Morant's better. And John Morant is having a freaking incredible season. I will say that. I have nothing against John Morant. I love the way he plays basketball. But on court product, Zion is better. And I will defend that. But if he's not available to play, then what do you do? Like, what do you have to go off of? And if he's not really invested, what do you have to go off of? And on top of that, the city edition jerseys suck. Yeah, and there you go. Someone again coming in, and which is funny, but someone max contract to an injured player in a small market can cripple a team for a decade. That's true, man. That is very true. And sometimes you got to take those risks too because of how freaking good Zion is. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make the decision. It's probably something I'm going to think about more and more as the year progresses, and how I feel about it, and when Zion's back, and if the team actually is able to string together some wins. But damn, ugh. Anyway, to I'm gonna just talk about the city edition jerseys because it's disappointing, but it's not as disappointing. They look exactly like the home whites, and there were a lot of there's just I'm pretty sure Nike's just in charge of it all, and you'd think that the Pelicans would have something to do with it, but man, there's so much culture in New Orleans. You'd think that they'd get like a local person to put it together. I think Nike should really start doing that with the city editions. I like last year's city editions better. You can roll with the NOLA thing and make that their home jerseys from now on instead of the city edition. I like the shorts. The shorts make it better, but ugh, I don't know how things to wrap it up with the title of the podcast. I don't know how things can get worse, man. I don't. I don't. Pels play tomorrow against the Suns, I believe. I want to check the Pelicans schedule right now, but I'm pretty sure they play the Suns. I'm gonna head over to my profile and on Twitter and see just to make sure that's right. But yes, they play the Suns tomorrow at 9 p.m. And I'm still gonna watch every game, and I'm sure a lot of you are who are the diehard fans. But it's gonna suck. Pelicans will win a few games. We'll see some great nights from Non, some great nights from Kyra and Jackson and Trey and Herb. And golly, I love Herb Jones so much. And that I hate that he's getting wasted this season. I hate it. It sucks. I will continue to cover this team, and I will continue to enjoy what's happening, but enjoy the games as much as I can. And I'm going to make my way to New Orleans. Here within early December, so about a month. So yeah, I'll keep y'all posted when I'm around. Hopefully, I get to meet some listeners of the show and talk with y'all in person. But um, you know, go out and go out and see the young guys. It's tough to watch the Smoothie King Center be completely empty. It's not completely empty, right? There are people there, but it still doesn't hurt to go out and support the team and spend some money in the community and add to the local economy and stuff like that. And I'll be doing that here soon. So I'm very excited to be down there and meet people and stuff like that. And here you go. Again, a little bit of positivity. Appreciate it, VB. Saints Pels lady. None of the guys are being wasted. Willie said they're learning. That's how I feel about the young guys. Absolutely. It's the older guys that I don't want to waste. Like I don't want to waste part of their prime, and I think a lot of people feel that way. So that's where I'm at with that. It all sucks. It just sucks, and this is a safe place to comment and vent and do that on our Facebook and our YouTube, and you can continue to do that as the season goes on, because Lord knows I'm going to be doing that for sure. So make sure you subscribe to our Boot Crew Media YouTube, to Pelicans Plus YouTube, like us on Facebook, and all of that. And Fee dropping a comment as he always does. Appreciate you, Fee. I know you always tune in. And saying that the good come out of this is Herb and Najee minutes. But yeah, that we'll wrap it up there, folks. If you're upset, drop a comment. I will do my best to respond to every single one on Pelicans Plus YouTube channel, just so we can vent together. Make sure that you subscribe, drop a comment, drop a like I said, on the YouTubes, on Facebook. Like us on Facebook, Pelicans Plus there, and then Boot Crew Media on Facebook as well. Really enjoyed talking with y'all, even though it's just a shitty situation we're all in. Make sure you subscribe or follow depending on where you're listening to the podcast. If you're listening in strictly audio, leave a rate and review on Apple Podcasts as well. We really appreciate that. This podcast sponsored by Hornitos, brought to you by Hornitos, the official tequila of Pelicans Plus and Boot Crew Media. I think that's it. I think I got all the things. Anyway, folks, I am Elliot Clough, at Elliot Clough on Twitter, right there. And this was Pelicans Plus.